The system wants to narrow this down to a two-horse race between Donald Trump and a puppet who they can control. And it has become increasingly clear that puppet is not a Democrat. It's not even Gavin Newsom. It's Nikki Haley. It's in our own party. Well, today, one more step in that plot unfolds. Chris Christie drops out. Next up, I'm going to make a prediction. You're actually going to see Ron DeSantis join Nikki Haley's ticket. He's going to be her VP. The whole game, it's hiding in plain sight. Whatever it takes. And this system will stop at nothing. And I mean nothing. To eliminate Donald Trump from contention. It's disgusting. But the same people who have said they're not going to actually take a principled stand against Trump's removal from the ballot. Haley and DeSantis are both in that category. Do the math, people. That's next up. Ron DeSantis is after Iowa. Everybody, including Chris Christie, apparently got a phone call from Ron DeSantis. Panicked was the word that Chris Christie used. This is the way the plot's going. Ron may not know this. Ron DeSantis may not know this. But that's what his donors are going to make him do. That's what's coming next. Ron DeSantis will become Nikki's VP. Whether or not Ron knows it, it's not really his choice. He's not the one in charge of that decision. And then the plot continues. We have to open our eyes and not fall into their trap. Our America First agenda cannot end. Our movement cannot end with Donald Trump when they take him out from contention. And if you think this system is going to even let this man get anywhere near the White House, we need to open our eyes. We need to do the right thing for our country. They are selling us the rope today that they're going to use to hang us tomorrow. Do not fall into the trap, people. And that's why I'm here.
What's going on, everyone? It's Talks with Kenny here today, and I believe that Vivek kind of just gave some great insights on a possible establishment plot for the 2024 election. So let's get into this. You guys, yesterday, Wednesday, January 10th, 2024, we got the Iowa debates between Nikki Haley and Ron DeSantis. I'm gonna assume Ron won, in my view, right? Because if I had to pick, Ron would be the one I would say won the debates, but I didn't even watch anything, so take this with a grain of salt. But I wanted to kind of, hone in on some of the messaging that Vivek has been really coming out recently. He had an ad out to tell people to boycott the Iowa debates, right? He says, turn the TV off. Mainstream media is trying to rig the Iowa GOP caucus in favor of corporate candidates because he got kicked out, or I forgot what was the criteria for it. They can control. Vivek introduced his video, don't fall for their tricks. They don't want you to hear from me about the truth of what really happened on January 6th. He added the truth about the COVID origins, the laptop story, and everything else that they lied to you about. I'm going to return to that point in another second, but let's talk about viewership, because I've been trying to find the viewership for the Iowa caucus debate between Nikki Haley and Ron DeSantis, and I haven't been able to find anything that's been tracking viewership. But if you look at the town hall that Vivek was part of, with Candace Owens, by the way, it has 500,000 views in a matter of 14 hours. Wow. And at one time, because I watched this entire thing live. At one time, Tim Pool had about 90,000 people watching this live stream with Vivek Ramaswamy and Candace Owens and others. I think, honestly, I believe Vivek just revealed the real reason he's in this race. And if you haven't, and you saw the intro is the day after he did the Timcast town hall. But in this clip, I believe you get further insights on some of the motivations, and I think the core motivation for why Vivek is running in 2024. Let's take a look.
In plain sight, and I think everybody's falling for it, actually.
I don't think they're falling for it. I think it's odd. Every time we look at the polls or the news organizations, they keep telling us Nikki is surging, and it's so obvious if you speak to people that she's not. After every single debate, they're like, Nikki won, even when it's so she's not even third place in terms of who won, and they're trying to convince us. It's every time a full propaganda effort when it comes to Nikki Haley, and you're right.
I think the part
it's pretty sinister what they're doing, but the people, I don't think, are falling for
it. The only part that I'm worried the people are falling for is some idea that this system is literally going to somehow stop short of literally stopping at nothing to keep Donald Trump away from the White House.
You think, is it Trump, or is it what he represents, the methodologies that he's used, like canceling the Trans-Pacific Partnership, kind of isolationist mentality?
I think the third rails there are definitely foreign policy. I think ending the war in Ukraine on the terms that either I or Trump have suggested definitely hits the third rail. I think the preservation of the national security state is a third rail. Those are the two big ones. The preservation of the national security bureaucracy at home. You can talk about the anti-woke stuff, the transgender stuff. Yeah, I mean, we have disagreements on the partisan basis, but that's all fine. It's mostly a deflection, actually. It's almost a convenient fact that Nikki Haley occasionally gets to say things that pay homage to the anti-woke movement. I don't think she has actual beliefs, but at least it's part of the cover. The real third rails are foreign policy. Keep the interventionist, neoliberal, neoconservative worldview of the U.S. as the hegemon that actually gets people to cut in on the rake here at home, the likes of the John Boltons and the Nikki Haley's.
Right.
And then third rail is the national security state at home. But I think in Donald Trump's case, I think that they've convinced themselves that with this man in particular, he is so dangerous to the future. He's demonstrated himself to be, their words, their view, not mine, that they have to and have a moral duty to this country. And when you believe you have a moral duty to do something, then you're bound by your more subordinate moral constraints, because there's the everyday moral norms you operate against. But if you think it's about the future existence of humanity or a nation, then those ordinary constraints no longer apply. And I think that's the mode this system is now in. The ordinary constraints are, okay, you let people on a ballot. Not anymore. You don't prosecute people for made-up crimes, especially in the middle of a presidential election. Not anymore. And if they've ratcheted up each of those times and none of those things work, I just think eventually they're just going to stop at nothing, whatever it takes to take Trump out, after they've narrowed it down to a two-horse race between Trump and Haley, which in turn is why I'm in this till the very end. And I think that we have a responsibility to this country to make sure that that plot doesn't play out. They're selling us the rope today that they'll use to hang us tomorrow.
I completely agree with that insight by Vivek. And it gets me wondering that once they get it, like if this prediction turns out to be true, if this scenario turns to play out, I think it's good for the American people to know that, hey, we have an option with Vivek Ramaswamy. And something got me thinking that, and this is a good point that Vivek brought up during his, kind of puff, I don't know how to say it, his thinking out loud session when he was talking on the town hall, is that Trump won because the people in power, the establishment, thought he couldn't win. And this is why I say Vivek right now reminds me a lot of 2015 Trump, is that no one has him, no one thinks he has a chance, right? No one even registering him on his radar, at least according to the corporate media press. And I believe the system can only really focus on one person, and Trump is taking up a lot of that attention, right? And they're so focused on stopping Trump, that when they do finally stop Trump, like if they stop Trump, right, the American people still have a way to express their discontent with the establishment, corporations, media, powers that be, political class, with Vivek. And I think this is a very principled stance that Vivek is taking, that he's like, hey, look, I'm a just in case break here. And I think that gives me a suit of confidence to, hey, we're gonna go with Trump. We're gonna go with Trump. Trump's gonna win the primary. And then something happened to them. Oh no, Nikki Haley has to come in. And the prediction about Ron DeSantis being Haley's VP, if that happens, look, if that happens, if Ron DeSantis decides to be VP for Nikki Haley, I think, as far as me, as part of the new right, new blood conservative, he's done. He donezo. Okay? He's donezo. Because they're like, oh, wait, hold on, Ron. You're going to tell me, Ron, you don't want to be VP for Donald Trump, but you were willing to be VP for Nikki Haley? Oh, no, that'll destroy his whole perception that he had about, I'm not a number 2 guy, I'm a number 1 guy. It's going to destroy his whole perception, because people are going to be like, yo, you could have compromised this whole time, but I guess you were an establishment candidate all along. That's political suicide. What do you think? Let me know in the comment section what you think. But let's get into what CNN's key takeaways from the CNN Iowa debate. Obviously I have to observe the left-wing perception on this, right? So Ron DeSantis has called Nikki Haley a measly mouth politician, and Haley said that the DeSantis campaign is exploding. So name calling, I guess. The two Republicans are vying to become the top alternative to future President Donald Trump in the party's 2024 presidential primary. Spent their one-on-one CNN debate on Wednesday night, just 5 nights from the Iowa caucus, slinging attacks and calling each other liars. And this is what I'm talking about, guys. You got to be able to do your own fact checking at this point. You can't rely on third parties such as CNN, as Vivek will call it, the crap news network. I will call it the cap news network. And capping just means the lying news network in my slang. The debate's hours after the 2024 contender, former New Jersey Governor Chris Christie, dropped out of the race he sure did drop, was a demonstration of both candidates' belief that the field needs to be further weeded before the last non-Trump candidate standing shift focus to the former president. DeSantis largely leaning on his record as the Florida governor, arguing that he's built a record for achieving conservative priorities, which is what we care about. Haley, who left the governor's office in 2017 and then became Trump's U.S. ambassador for the to the UN, took a forward-looking approach, right? During the clash over the United States' role in supporting Ukraine in the war against Russia, DeSantis said Haley believes we have somewhat globalist and we have unlimited resources. Good critique by DeSantis. I agree with that. But I don't want to keep focusing. I want to focus on the points that CNN cared about. Trump is skating again. You can't attack Trump here. As a matter of pure politics, Trump's decision to sit out the debate has rarely looked more shrewd. Though DeSantis and Haley have unflawed modest criticism of the former president, like failing to build a wall and not being on stage with them, neither has taken the opportunity to denounce him more pointedly or argue he is unfit for office. This is one thing I don't like about like liberal media. They always point things from their perspective, their worldview, and they try to pretend that that's what matters the most, right? Like to conservatives, we don't care about all that stuff. The border wall, we know, hey, there was some infighting that prevented Trump from really getting the border wall across. He had to fight it was a struggle session within his own party to get his priorities done because the party did not want to do that. They wanted to do other things. And Trump wasn't going along with those other things, and they stopped his priority, right? They don't mention those contexts like that, right? And I understand why the news media tries to do this, right? They always try to frame things in their worldview, and then they try to act like it's objective. Oh, no, this is just the facts. This is not our perception. The race to be the toughest on stage, I don't really care about that. Haley's brutal takedown of DeSantis' campaign. Haley delivered perhaps the most weathering attack DeSantis has faced as a presidential candidate midway through the debate. After the Florida governor accused Haley of ineffective leadership and left the door open, the moment came during a discussion of education policies when DeSantis criticized Haley for failing to shepherd a school voucher program through a recent school South Carolina legislation. She blames other people. Leadership is about getting things done. Stop making excuses. Make it happen, he said. Haley responded by recounting months of drama, leadership changes, and personal clashes in DeSantis' campaign and a pro-DeSantis super PAC. She pointed to the financial disclosures that showed DeSantis traveling on private jets and contrasted that with her own approach. I flew commercial. I stayed in residential inn. We went and saved our money. Not as much as compared to Vivek. Vivek stopped doing all kind of spending, and he's on the ground right now outworking you guys. And she's sitting here pretending that she's doing some great thing. 2 views on foreign wars, tiptoeing on January 6th. Like, this stuff doesn't matter to the American people. And this is what I'm talking about with liberal media. It's like they don't understand that they have a bias, and they're like, yo, we care about this thing. That means American people must care about this thing. Liberals only think you only have a right to be like a liberal and think like a liberal, right? And I'm about to show you another example of this. They touched on abortion, what they got right and wrong about the economy. There's nothing wrong with the economy, according to the CNN guys. They address top concerns, inflation, which is important, but look how far on the bottom that is, right? And there's conspiracy theories absent from the debate. Now, this is the point of the video I want to really hone in on the conspiracy theory stuff. Without Donald Trump or Vivek Ramaswamy present, the entire discussion of the entire discourse of the debate was a lot less conspiracy focused. Hunter Biden came up. Conspiracy theories like the false claim that the attack on the U.S. Capitol on the January 6th was triggered by the FBI was also absent because you can't handle the argument. And this is my problem. These same people, let's go back to the article. Marion, I was going to bring you back to this article here. The same people said that questioning the COVID origin was a conspiracy theory. Oh, it came from Wuhan, China. Oh, no, conspiracy. 2 years later, right again, the Hunter Biden laptop is a conspiracy theory. It's Russia misinformation. 2 years later, find out it's true, factual, right? But these same people, and this is what I'm saying, these people don't correct themselves. These same people then label what they don't agree with alternative contrarian views as conspiracy theories. This is merely used as a smear. That's all it is. You call me a conspiracy theorist today, and you'll call me a visionary tomorrow, because it's a pattern recognition. right? Look, by contrast, both Ramaswamy and Trump relish diving into fringe ideas and conspiracy theories. On multiple occasions, the entrepreneur has basically floated that January 6th was an inside job. If you only listen to CNN, you will not you won't have enough context to counteract what they're saying. All they're good at is framing stuff. And this has been my biggest argument for why I don't listen to mainstream media. Here's an article from, not an article, but this is a post that I saw from Elon Musk about misinformation with the WEF. And the top concern for them is misinformation and disinformation. By misinformation, WEF means everything that conflicts with its agenda, their worldview, their perspective, right? Any contrary opinion that is against their approved narrative is misinformation, and the media takes the same approach. Liberals take the same approach. This is why they always focus on, oh, you guys are spreading misinformation. But then you ask them, okay, explain how this is not true. Explain how natural immunity is not probable for fighting against COVID and why I don't need a vaccine. Explain that to me. Explain to me how you want us to get all these vaccines, but they don't even prevent the very thing that you want us to get vaccinated for. Explain that to me. Conspiracy theorists. The game is becoming too obvious at this point, right? And I think this is why CNN weeded out Vivek Ramaswamy. They denied him entry. They're like, no. And look how they frame it. Oh, it's less conspiratorial, as if, oh, that's better. Oh, look, oh my God. They're talking in a way that we want them to talk about. That's CNN. That's liberal bias. That's a liberal bias. That's a liberal worldview. If the candidates of the opposing party is talking in the way that you want them to do, then you should understand that they're actually not talking about the things that the opposition party, the supporters of the opposition party actually want to be heard on stage. And this is how people become controlled. This is why our country is so partisan now, because we don't have a common foundation anymore. We look at things in terms of party ideology instead of nation. Right? Look at the bottom. You call the World Economic Forum, but look at the bottom. All the economic stuff is last on your priority, at the bottom of your priority. But look at what's at the top. Misinformation, disinformation, aka controlling perception, controlling minds, controlling thoughts, controlling information access. Everything that we want you to worry about socially is at the top of our list. Societal polarization. No, we don't want people to be so polarized. We don't want contrarians. We want everyone to be of one mind, of one thought. They want conformity. That's all it is. This is the reality. Liberals want conformity, whether they want to admit it or not. Because the minute you give a contrary opinion, they try to slander you, smear you as a conspiracy theorist. Sorry. And that's the establishment plot for the election of 2024. Do you agree with Vivek Ramaswamy's prediction? Do you have a different take than Vivek's prediction? Let me know your thoughts in the comment section, how you think the 2024 election will play out. Let me hear your thoughts in the comment section below. Don't forget to like, comment, subscribe. And I really do appreciate you guys watching to the end of the video. And I'll catch you guys on the next one. Peace.